Hello and welcome to the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate. Welcome to the show. I'm here with Rod Kuntz today. Rod, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Jim. Thanks for asking.
Sometimes time goes by so fast. This is the only place we catch up. Although we did speak yesterday, but it's amazing how much is on our plate right now with our Young Entrepreneur Syndicate, working with our members, being there for them, taking those phone calls, being on the new platform, all kinds of great stuff.
It's really incredible. And I like being busy. I always have. I would rather be busy and productive than whatever the alternative is, bored and distracted or depressed. So I embrace the process.
Oftentimes people talk about, well, why would you be a good coach? Or why would this be a good group for me? And this is just a little off of today's topic, by the way, but the fact is, and we were just talking about this before we hit the record button, is you're getting prepared for a retail show this weekend because one of your businesses, you're in the retail business, you sell apparel. And I'm constantly working in one of my few businesses. The point is that we're in the business of being in business. And if you want to be in a membership group with people that are doing it, this is the one. Rod has multiple businesses. I have multiple businesses. Rachel has multiple businesses and some incredible clients. And the education that you're going to get from us alone, from people that are in the business of doing these things, you're not going to get that in most of these other groups that are out there.
Right. A lot of them, and they obviously everybody has a background and a backstory. But the interesting thing about you and I especially, and Rachel, is our backstory is across so many different disciplines, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned retail. Well, I'm also in the wholesale business, retail and wholesale, and sales and marketing, like you, and in spirits and in food and franchises. We've talked about so many different things that we have had our hands in, and the blue collar end. There are so many great startups that you can do in blue collar and be an entrepreneur. And it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And to have that wide array of backgrounds, and it's priceless, really, to have a mentor in any of those disciplines.
Yeah. And the reason why I bring this up, there's a lot of clutter on social media. That's where we get our information. That's where people find us. That's where they find other groups. And what I mean by clutter, there's a lot of gurus out there doing different types of membership groups and coaching with zero experience. They pop up some fancy photos of, their vacation or whatever it is they're doing, and they have zero experience. Matter of fact, I know somebody that said he's coaching and he's charging, I think he said $2,000 a client per month. And I was like, but you haven't even been in business for, more than 8 years, I think is what it was. Not that that's discount. I mean, 8 years is a decent amount of time being, but to be an authority at the rate that somebody's been in business 40 plus years, it blows me away. So my point here is that if you want to be a part of a group, a community of people doing business that have done business, we're here for you with the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate. So enough of that.
Experience matters.
What I want to talk about today, Rod, is the importance of having a creed for your business. And I developed or wrote what I'm calling the Warpath Creed for the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate. And I'm going to give, although I wrote it, I'm giving you all the credit because this Warpath Creed was pulled from your book that you wrote, Warpath.
The Warpath Alliance, yes.
Warpath Alliance. And the philosophies behind that. And that's also why I'm a partner with you, because I believe and we share the same philosophies and principles. But why is it important to have a Warpath Creed in your mind? I know why I wrote it, because once I started writing, I realized this is important. But describe that for our listeners today, because I don't think enough companies have their own creed.
Well, I'm going to back up a little bit, because I think it's kind of a trendy thing that I've seen in business where people have a mission statement. right?
Yep.
And they spend a lot of time putting effort and narrowing it in and having a mission statement. What is our mission? And that's a great start, right? That's skimming the surface. That's putting an umbrella over the top of everything, saying, this is who we are and what we represent, what we want to do. But how you go about it matters more, right? It's like how you do it matters more than what you say about it, right? And so a mission statement, although they're very useful, they're practical, I believe in them. I think that everyone should have one because it keeps you focused, right? But that's just the umbrella. That's like saying, okay, we have an LLC, right? Well, so what are the articles of the corporation, right? You still have to have the articles. So you can have a business name, and that might be your mission statement, but you still have to have the articles. And that's what a creed is. It's like, this is what we do and how we're going to do it, because these are the things we believe in. And those, I don't know if anyone out there has ever run a rototiller, right?
Oh, I run one every spring.
Okay. So that's
for my garden.
If you're wanting to go deeper, there's this little bar in the back, and it has a name, I'm sure, but you stick that down, and the deeper down it goes, the slower the tiller goes and the deeper it grinds.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to stick that in. It's not like a rudder on a ship, which changes direction. This gets you deep. This slows you down and makes you grind until you're to the depth you need to be. And if you're planting a garden and you want great results, you better churn it up deep, because that's where the roots need to go so that you can produce up top. And that's what a creed is. It's down deep. It's the roots of your organization.
I love that, because as I read through the creed that was written for Young Entrepreneur Syndicate, I can see that depth. It was a perfect metaphor, by the way. I could see the depth and getting in there. And what I like the most about it is that creeds are usually forward-facing documents for members to see. And, I'm just going to give a quick example. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it would just take us too deep here on this show. But, like our number 3 bullet point was, we are relentless, right? And then we can say that, but what does that mean? Like, how do you go into depth? Well, it goes on to say, we will never quit. We will get back up when knocked down and keep pushing to achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves. This is the important part. We will lean on our community to never give up and keep going. In other words, we've built strength and foundation through our community members, right? We're going to lean on one another to be relentless and never quit, So when you talk about that depth, I mean, when you look at these creeds and what that actually means, it's like, wow, why would I not want to be a part of something like that?
Right. Exactly. And you should be asking those questions, especially if you're making an investment, right? These groups, coaching, consulting, it's not free. So you should be looking at this stuff ahead of time. Go into the weeds a little bit to find out, if you're going to be investing, what exactly are you investing in? Ultimately, you're investing in yourself, but how deep are you willing to go? Because you can wait around in the shallows and spend an awful lot of money waiting around in the shallows. But if you want the big fish, you got to go deep, right? We know that. So, figure that part out. And again, I'm very proud of what we do and what we're doing. I'm proud of the results that we are getting, and that our members are achieving. That's even more important, because that's the fruit, right?
Right. It's unbelievable what the members are doing. We had a member yesterday that my wife is doing a little marketing work with, and she sent my wife home with her product that she's launching this weekend. And it's all hush hush right now. No photos yet. But, I'm looking at this product. I'm going, holy shit, man, this person has created a business. We've watched it from a seedling idea. Matter of fact, I remember when she called me, this is what I was thinking about naming it, right? We were talking about the name and less than a year ago. And here this product is sitting on my kitchen table. I'm looking at it going, wow, that is unbelievable. And by the way, we were looking through the website on the back end again, because it's not public yet. And my wife's like, I don't think she's charging enough. I'm like, she's definitely not charging enough. She needs to raise her prices. This is too low, because I'm looking at the product in front of me. I'm going, there's no way that this should be that cheap, right? So to your point, what's being delivered in our community with one another. And notice my story, I said, my wife, who's a member of the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate, is collaborating with another member to achieve something, right? I just happen to know the insights of the story because of the relationship. I didn't prompt them to get together. That wasn't me doing that. They were just members and they gravitated towards one another. It's really spectacular when you see somebody that's walked through all the steps of being an entrepreneur and pulling something off like that. It's really exciting for me to watch.
Well, that we do our calls on Monday evening. And to me, the best part of our calls are when we get into question and answer, when we've got members asking questions. And it's not just you and I and Rachel, the core. It's other people who chime in and have experience in different areas saying, well, have you tried this? Have you thought about that? And here's what happened when I did something like that and what I would do differently. Mm-hmm. There's so much to be learned from that community, literally, and people feeling safe in our community to ask those questions, right? And then you've got the information. You can do with it what you want. Vet it with other people. Ask around. Do whatever you want. But at least you're getting counsel from wise people who have been there, done that, and they have a vested interest in you because they have a relationship with you. And that where's the value in that? I don't think we're charging enough, Jim. Speaking of that,
probably not.
Maybe we're not.
Probably not. But this is a blessing that we're able to do and give what we have. So the message here, if you're listening, is whether you're a member in the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate or something else, don't be afraid to collaborate, get to know your community, and branch out. We always are hesitant to ask for help, but as humans, we always want to lend a hand. So don't forget to ask for help when needed and grow your business. We'd love to have you at the syndicate, and we've got a great group of people. Hey, even if it was just the 3 founders and you're still getting a tremendous value. Rod, I want to talk about a quote before we wrap this thing up, and I'm going to appreciate and enjoy wrapping with this quote. This came from your book, by the way, and also I've not told you the last 3 speeches I gave, I opened up with this quote and gave reference to you and your book.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So you didn't even know I was talking about you out there. But this is such an incredible quote as it relates to business and community involvement. And when you really think about what is said, it's like, this makes a point. And so the quote, of course, is from Geronimo.
Right.
And it's, everyone wants to be a warrior, but nobody wants to do what warriors do. Absolutely. How true is that?
Absolutely spot on. And that's the opening quote for my book, because it comes at a cost. Mm-hmm. It does. And everybody wants to, have that cape on and, the sword and shield and look BA and have the big guns or whatever. But there's work involved, and it's not easy. And once people find that out, it's like, I'll go back to work for someone else. You've got to be girded up for battle and prepped for it. So, and thanks again. I appreciate you acknowledging that, because that really is the essence of the Warpath Alliance.
Well, and when I look at that, Rod, and I think about it, it's such a compelling statement. If that's all they got out of your entire book, but it resonated with them, then it was worth the cost of admission. Right. Because, we live in a society where people are real quick, and we know this, you've heard this already, everybody's heard it. We only post the good stuff on social media. We only post the wanting to be a warrior, like you said. They got the shield and the spear and the war paint, but when they're off screen, all that stuff comes back off, and they're back to the couch, not doing what the warriors do. Right. And that's right. getting up early, getting your workout in, having your gratitude, showing up for your kids by the time they're up, being the father that you need to be or the mother, and then going to work and putting in those hours. And if you're going to be an entrepreneur with any success, you put in 12 hours. You're not just wearing the garb. And so many people overlook that. It blows me away how many people look beyond just, wanting to be a warrior, but they're not willing to do the hard work.
Well, and there are so many, you brought this up earlier with some of the Instagram and Facebook and, TikTok. You've got so many influencers out there, and some of them are legit, right? We know that.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are really good at putting on a uniform and pretending to be something that they're not. Or maybe they're aspiring to be that, and I heard this term all the time, poser, right? Oh, they're a poser. And I didn't realize it's actually a French word. I should look it back up because I don't think I could get the spelling right, but it's like poseur,
Mm-hmm.
And it's somebody who's, positioning themselves to be somebody else and something they're not. And we don't need to go there. We don't need to go there. We need to just be authentic and real and do the work.
Yeah.
That's what we're about. Being authentic, being real, doing the work to get you to be that warrior that we all want to be.
Yeah. And by the way, sometimes that requires putting on the blinders, not worrying about what other people are thinking, saying, or doing, and just grinding it out, putting in the work, one foot in front of the other to get to your finish line, to get to your goal, doing what warriors do. So thanks for putting that in the front of your book. By the way, your book ends almost at the end with another great quote from Geronimo. You want to rattle it off?
Sure. I never should have surrendered. I should have fought until I was the last man alive.
Yeah. I love that.
That no regrets, right? You don't want to regret.
Well, and another kudos to you. I've closed those last 3 speeches with that as well, because it's so important. And I love it. It's not on your last page, but it's in the middle of the last chapter, I believe.
Yeah. Under S.
Under S.
S for surrender.
And I think
sacrifice.
Well, I think that's a great close to this segment, because we're talking about the Warpath Creed, or the creed for your business. We're talking about not just, wanting to be a warrior, but doing what warriors do, and concluding that with a never surrender. Be the last person standing in your business. You know what's crazy? It just struck me during COVID. We own we own an import wine business. Okay. And it's a small business. And I say that because when COVID hit and every restaurant shut down in the state of California, which is the only place we sell that wine, our sales shut down. Right. And literally for the 3 years that California was confused, to put it nicely.
That is nice.
Well, we didn't have any sales. And so what I did is I just funded the company every month. Like I wrote a check, like, we're not shutting down. We will be the last man standing in my world.
Right.
Right. I was the only guy there. And now guess what? Business is open. People are excited. They're talking about the products. And it's because I never gave up. And I wish that for everybody to have that mentality, that regardless of what's happening around them, if they're passionate about their business and they want to succeed, never give up, be the last man standing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thanks, Jim. That is always nice to hear that my book is still out there resonating with, and it wasn't my quote, mind you, it was Geronimo.
Yes.
But I did the research and it fit.
Well, I had not seen either of those quotes prior to reading your book. So, all right. Well, look, hey, Rod, thanks for this great topic and conversation today. Thank you for tuning in. If you're enjoying this podcast, please share it with a friend. Post it up on your LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is you're using. We'd love to get the word out there. And we'd love to have more members at the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate. The point of Rod and I starting this group was so that we can help many. Both of us had our own businesses. I did some consulting prior to that, but I wasn't able to reach the masses, and we want to reach as many as possible, which is also why right now, in celebration of our new platform with Jadari, founded by Sean Whalen and Greg Anderson, that we're offering first month free. That way you can jump in, check it out, see what our Warrior Creed is all about, you know, and use the system. So love to have you. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, talked about Rod's book. You can get it on Amazon, or if you're on our webpage, youngentrepreneurs.syndicate.com, you can just look in the library, and Rod's book's right there at the top, right next to mine, actually. The Freedom to Say Yes.
Freedom to Say Yes by Jim Riley.
There you go. So right on. Rod, talk to you next week.
I look forward to it, Jim.
Sounds good.